Right. Good morning, everybody, and good morning to our Navajo people and our friends uh, in and around the Navajo Nation, all over the world. We are coming to you live with an update on the COVID pandemic, and information is shared with you all on what's happening throughout country, in our region, and our nation. So, as always, before we start out with the prayer. So let us pray to the Creator.
Yeah, I think they lost connection, Captain Johnson.
We're back.
Okay. Really? I can't hear you.
All right. I hope this connection. Can y'all hear me? We're here at Twin Arrows, um, meeting with the mini 638 facilities, Navajo, Tuba City, Regional Healthcare Corporation, Winslow Indian Healthcare Corporation, and even as far south as San Carlos. Just letting them know, we appreciate their hard work here on the Navajo Nation, as well as all of Indian country. And we're starting to see an influx in cases, ladies and gentlemen. 4th of July weekend has seen some increase in cases. The past 3 days, 220 plus. So if you average that, it's about 70 plus cases per day. Uh, Still manageable, but it's still pretty high. I think we just need to do a lot better at wearing these masks, and we were able to open up some of our events. I think there was a concern about these events opening up, but of course, uh, right now there's no evidence of uh, widespread from these events. Most of it is just at home, and those that are you know visiting off the Navajo Nation. So we just got to stay the course, and I appreciate everybody. It's really because I truly believe the high vaccination rate here on the Navajo Nation, over 70%. Let's keep going. Vaccinations are available for our children, our babies now. Was it 6 months and over? Pfizer now, the first shots are all available 6 months and up. Boosters are available as well for 50 years and over, those that are on the front lines, and also with underlying health conditions. So get your vaccine, ladies and gentlemen, and let's continue to push back on COVID 19. But you see an uptick in cases, not just here, but all across the country. Now, BA.5 is the most variant that is out there. It's kind of a move from this Omicron and moving towards BA.5. So it's really contagious. But then the healthcare experts have said that the from uh, the Delta variant, we use the Greek alphabet, alpha, beta, all the way to Delta, and now Omicron, and now the offsprings like BA.5. So that's the one that's most prevalent all across the country. Very, very contagious, and it up and use their hand sanitizers. It doesn't uh, mask and to
Good morning, everyone. Nan for joining the town hall by the Office of the President and Vice President of the Navajo Nation. She Dr. Jill Jimin Shiedo Don the Anderson A look on National Tachini Bushes Chin do Ishain the Shachedo Zafana Edashanella. Ado na just on the IEC na Shadow at East Bahayan Jebik in do being that clear and not only President Nez Ado. Yeah, Vice President A, he's on travel and A Kwadi Hayas Tishin Lay National Indian Health Board again the A Kwadi at East Bahan ya Yataf Tit the Ado Kwadi Saho tribal leaders dot any A in the Al Kwadi hate Adi is it Indo dot any it's East Bahan Dishi yan and the Al Shin Kwan Hayataf Tit. So I just wanted to thank Vice President for going out and celebrating the National Indian Health Board's 50th anniversary as well. Adon question President Nes ni jahanana tiki e on the ahonana ati the question chagi nas it at ahalienigi e saho oni to sata shin do shin ba ta hanits in the shin de kwadi aid hate din hit spent in the gisa hot edo just I don't the delta holiendo American holienge the hot and a chin din hit the nation quishi but the odds and the shin abatat hanes get on the with Tata shin di kwadi is that bahalo that the no shin tata the di don hit no got the shin the needs and arts for sa hata nit essa sé an asin het no gahanta do I used to kwadi is el inde da ada do di hati data do yegon yo do yegon het no got the shiben ye inna is it halong do clishin hidden and hidden she only quite a nahas ke ishin ben not a stop on city castle that the also quite the next phase of COVID that the nini clishin at not the be ke godi the question charging us it at the holinigi Ashin de go not as kitchen ani we are in another surge ani do skito ya not net di shi ben not Akuishi 4th of July don't do dishin kadi ashi hikel at ashi kadi nsa that the hey the shin hawande nahas kego for family celebration shin 4th of July dot enigi do shin ba the handi zion the that shin ani in his chiton his et topic es ke odenis and the do ashi kota ashi kota nation halan chingo chalahan they kinsanda don they on they she hos do da ne kego ani ada de neta baganigi eto do I yisipichinto bezepik eda askeo edenisanda do touching do ba da as do touching ani do argent and dazing do ya da keta a konne da non nishon da enigi áilscochaidí cúisní ben den iad chinigí siad bí na deidirisnadí an chéad an iad ag go sin dé agódí de dulce gatin hé chu hanna céige sí áit an da cédó ahahain den naisó chu a dí níle é áhut could the Health Command Center, the KID, we receive reports all that on the con hit in the end on the shiki fata on the how the anai so so data the the on the so the law the tahanes gain the KID the cost of the chief in as get done the all 20,000 the out on the kiddo akon you didn't ever tane hit hatahan as kego a kwadi do that the shna akwa ashwa the ishin not the dego not as kiddo satashin ani other cosido not ni do stomach flu that any do allergies that any shin anna akwa holonde aber dahannitzen ha sin ja gonde inde dol kinde do ato hunnenta e sin bin di do ai sikha aber dahannassen de snido sik e do se den although abelagan like entishe, I just want to encourage everyone to continue to practicing their mask wearing and taking all the precautions. We know that all the variants are different and we all respond to it differently, whether we're vaccinated or not. And so, but having been vaccinated does prevent severe hospitalizations and also death as well. So, just keeping that in mind, our hospitals are not overwhelmed with COVID right now, which is good, but at the same time, we don't know what is to come, and we know that people are still receiving care even for non-COVID that is being across the entire Navajo Nation. So continue to take precautions. I know that Captain Johnson will have a lot to say and just making sure that we are in this next phase of the pandemic. What do we consider normal? Normal doesn't mean lifting everything, lifting all the work that we have put together by making sure we're continuing to mask, wash our hands, and sanitize. And the more I go out personally out into the city, there are more places that don't have hand sanitizers available in restaurants or in stores. And so that responsibility has to go back on us. And a lot of businesses don't require a mask, but I think we continue to do that. But the more that we're transitioning back into sort of like less restrictions, I think what I see is there are more people unmasking, and unmasking is just an extra layer of protection for ourselves, and so that we don't get sick. And we're so concerned about people that have underlying health conditions as well and are elderly. So everyone is eligible to be vaccinated, those that are 6 months and older. So make sure you get vaccinated to protect yourself and others in your family. So I just wanted to reiterate that there is still high transmission in the communities and a lot of communities, and it's really up to us to continue to make those decisions every single day to take care of ourselves. So right now I'm going to hand it over to Captain Johnson, he's with the Health Command as well, and he's with the Navajo Area Indian Health Service. So Captain Johnson, take it away.
Hey, hello, Dr. Jim, and thank you for transitioning there. I appreciate it, and I want to say thank you to the Navajo Nation for their continued efforts here with COVID-19. Particularly being transparent, getting information out to the public. It does remain certainly an important issue in our community. So again, this is Captain Brian Johnson, everyone. I serve as the acting deputy area director for the Navajo Area Indian Health Service there in St. Michael's, Arizona, and certainly have worked with the Navajo Nation Health Command over the past many months as we've addressed COVID-19 and everybody pitching in to do what they can and to come together as a team to do what they can. Not much has changed since our last report, other than I just think it's really important that we continue to share with the public. Sometimes when we look at the national media, the message that we may receive might be quite different than what we see in the local communities. And oftentimes the local media does not have the picture of things that we have here locally unless we share that upward. Now, it's important to note, and I know President Nez touched on it, and Dr. Jim also touched on this a little bit. If we think about the 4th of July holiday, and I hope everyone had a great 4th of July holiday, what we're seeing presently is a result of many of the large group gatherings that took place, whether it be with family, friends, and so forth. There was numbers released just yesterday where over 220 plus cases new cases were identified here on the Navajo Nation, and that was of COVID-19. And that's something that we, when we knew that the 4th of July holiday was coming, that we would very likely see an increase, or what we refer to as an uptick in cases, as we knew that friends and family would be getting together. And it really, what happens in those situations really hinges upon how much we elect to protect ourselves during those times. We do know, and we do support the notion of families and gathering and those types of things. However, doing so in a very cautious way, as we know, we continue to see high transmission of cases here in our local region. Just wanted to make sure that people understand that there's still a large number of individuals working every day, as has been the case over the last 2.5 years, with the Navajo Nation Health Command, with the Navajo Area Indian Health Service, with our tribal 638 programs throughout Navajo Nation. Many folks still focusing on this effort, working on epidemiology, making sure that some of those numbers are shared broadly so that the public is aware and can remain informed of what we're seeing. Of course, all of us want to see the cases go down, and we want to see them sustain in a downward motion. But we know that with the recent holidays of Memorial Day, July 4, that we have had those increases. At the same time, we've seen nationally, there's been some information that you will see and hear on the national media. You will hear about subtype variants, subvariants here on the Navajo Nation as compared to nationally. And it is important to realize that typically, or as has been in the past, we follow the national pattern. Sometimes it takes Navajo, the local area, a little longer to maybe see what is being experienced on the East Coast, but eventually that does take place here. And so we do see the various subvariants that are happening, whether we're talking about the BA2 and variants of that, or if we're talking about the BA5 and the BA4. We know that the BA5 and BA4 are in the United States. They are in our area. And, of course, we're seeing nationally the BA5 taking over the lead spot in terms of COVID-19 infections in the U.S. But locally, there's still some transitioning happening with those subvariants locally. So it's important that we all continue to do what we can, realizing that we've been very fortunate that our more recent subvariants have been less severe than what we experienced going back in time with Delta. but it's very important for us to realize that there is a segment or a portion of our population. If we think about the Navajo Nation from a bird's eye view, we have a portion of the population who are more highly sensitive, are oftentimes you'll hear the word vulnerable to any of the subvariants. And so it's important that we all work together to help protect our friends and family members who fall into that category. And sometimes it's just merely, although the COVID variant might be considered to be a milder version, it can hit a portion of our population very hard. And again, it's our responsibility as a team, as a group, as a community to certainly do what we can to prevent transmission to the extent that we can. It's not always possible to stop all transmission, but we should be using those tools that we have in our toolbox that we can try to limit that and protect those around us. Just wanted to reassure the public again that we continue to do the testing. I have heard, as I reported last week, we have heard of many individuals with the current subvariants having allergy-type responses to the subvariant. In other words, their symptoms are consistent with seasonal allergies and that kind of thing. I've heard of individuals who tell me that they developed a severe headache, felt kind of awful, and developed allergy-type symptoms. And they were able to make it through the infection okay, but did not feel very well going through that process, and did not recommend getting the virus because they just did not feel well for a number of days. So it's important that we think about that, and realizing that you could experience symptoms consistent with allergies. We do still want people. We still want our clients, our patients, to come into the health facilities if you think you've been exposed, and if you think that you are experiencing some symptoms, whether they're allergy type, maybe you never had allergies, and all of a sudden your nose is actively running, you're getting sinus issues, maybe a severe headache, other types of symptoms, and you think that you could potentially have been exposed. We certainly do recommend you come in. There are our facilities, different from early on in the pandemic. Early on, we did not have therapeutic agents that we could use to ease the burden on the patient population. They were extremely limited nationally. Just didn't have access to those. And over time, some of those medications and therapeutics or medications, however we want to refer to those, to fight COVID-19, some of those, there's been some new developments over time, and our facilities do have therapeutics that, if warranted, they can provide that to you or your family members if you are showing signs of infection and if it's felt that it is needed for those therapeutic agents. So certainly consider that. We do recommend that folks come in and be tested if you are having those symptoms, so then also the facility can provide immediate treatment as well if that's needed. And certainly that's the clinicians who will look at that, and they understand the various trends of these viruses, and they understand their patients the best. And so we will leave those decisions to the providers, to the physicians, as well as the nursing teams, helping with those. So again, if you have home test kits, those are great. We continue to recommend to use those as well. That our facilities stand ready to provide testing as well, and so hopefully you'll take advantage of that. I could go into the different types of antivirals and Paxlovid and others that are available, but just know that they are here. That your providers do have those tools as well in their toolbox to help you as a patient, which may not have been provided or available earlier on in the pandemic. Nothing has really changed with the vaccination efforts. The most recent thing that changed, of course, was the 6-month-old age group from 6-month-old to 4 years old have been approved for vaccinations, COVID vaccinations, which is very important. As we know that a number of folks on the Navajo Nation, perhaps younger parents, have children that they may put in child care situations and other institutional settings, and may be out in the community, maybe with neighbors and so forth. And so having that vaccination is very important for those age groups, as, of course, disease tends to transfer fairly rapidly amongst that group as well. So very, very important to realize at this point in the pandemic that children starting at the age of 6 months of age, all the way up to the elderly population now have access to vaccines. And if you have not received those, or if you have elected to this point to not receive those yet, you think you might be interested in doing so at this point in time, certainly any of your local Indian Health Service or 638 tribal health facilities do have those in stock, and I can certainly provide information and assist you with that. So I think for the most part, I wanted to share that message today to make sure that those efforts continue, the testing, the vaccinations. I was recently had to travel to visit my mom